Santo, Scott, Alvera, Mrs. Shine.
I will be the witness.
I will be defense attorney Mr. G.
I am the court.
I will be plaintiff's attorney Mr. Pack. And we will begin with me asking a question. Ready? Okay, we're talking about the door, the driver's door. This one where you saw Mr. Martin seated. Is that where, yes or no?
Yes.
I'm going to show you picture number 2.
Counsel, before we get started, for the record, I'm going to attach this diagram, and I've marked that as 2.
Do you want me to use letters and U numbers?
Well, I marked the first one as plaintiff's 1. It would make sense to mark the second diagram and attach it as number 2. And if you attach that as an exhibit, maybe you can use letters.
You want me to use letters. So let the record reflect that the questions that I've asked the deponent, which represented plaintiff's number 1, is now transmuted and changed to A in line. And the next photograph that I'm going to show will be plaintiff's number 2. This is part of the evidence which I'm showing you. And I'll call this is going to be letter B. Do you recognize this vehicle?
Yes.
We are going to talk about this lane which appears at the right of the picture, about in the middle. This is the same lane that we are talking about where cars parked?
Yes.
Okay. And in this picture it appears that that vehicle is parked there on the date of the accident?
Yes.
Could I have that question read back? I object to that as it's argumentative.
Okay.
The picture speaks for itself.
The next one is letter C. It's a little dark, the picture is, but do you recognize this vehicle in this photograph?
Yes, it's the car door.
This is the same door which was damaged that you saw after the impact.
Yes.
And we're talking about the line which appears and runs in the lower portion of the picture. And this is the line which you described where vehicles park, inside of this line.
Yes.
Okay. The next picture will be D. Do you recognize this vehicle?
Yes.
And it appears to be the vehicle which you saw on the date and time of the accident.
Yes.
And it appears that the door is in the same situation after you saw it after the impact.
Yes.
Okay. One question after another regarding number D. Did you see Mr. Martin seated in this seat after the impact?
Yes.
Now, during the time that you were looking at him, you saw him exit this door at some point in time after the accident?
I just saw him seated. And then I left. I didn't know what happened after that.
Okay, when you saw it or him, was it after you went to Santo's house?
Just to advise them, and then I went back again. I saw him. I asked him if he was all right. I don't know where he got out or anything about it.
The following one is going to be E. I'm going to show you this picture, please. You recognize this vehicle, which is the vehicle which you saw on the day of the accident?
Yes.
And you also recognize this damage to the door?
Yes.
When the accident occurred?
Yes.
And we're talking about the line which appears to the right of the picture, almost in the middle. That's the line which you described as being where vehicles parked.
Yes.
And the vehicle which appears in this picture was parked within that line. Is that not true?
Within that one, yes, but not in this side.
Indicating to the right?
That's where he parked.
I'm going to mark the next one as an F, as in fun. You recognize the picture, and you recognize that this is the vehicle which sustained damage on the date of the accident?
Yes.
Okay. And here this line appears in the right lower side of the picture. Does that appear to be the same line which you say the cars park within it?
Yes.
In that position, in this picture, the car appears to be more closer to the left?
Yes.
Because you've told me, and you have already testified here, that the car was pushed after the impact.
Yes, it was next to, or side by side, to this. What you call it? The sidewalk.
The sidewalk in this picture, can you tell me where it is?
It is on this side.
Indicating the left of the picture.
Let me show him again.
Yes, the car was here with the... It was more that way.
And you are indicating toward the left and up,
Yes?
and that is where the sidewalk is.
Well, this to me is right. This is left to me. When it was hit here, it moved a little bit this way.
Indicating to the left and up.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next G is a picture. You recognize this vehicle which is shown in this picture?
Yes.
Okay. This appears to be the same damage which appeared to the door after you saw the impact. Is that not true?
Yes.
And I'm going to direct your attention to the white painted line in the middle of this picture to the right, which you have described as being the line where vehicles park.
Yes.
The following picture will be H. Is that the same picture which has the damage, shows the damage of the car and the scene when the accident occurred?
Yes.
And this is the same painted white line in the lower portion to the right where cars parked?
Yes, it's the same.
We are going to describe the next picture as I. Can you say that this is the same vehicle in this accident?
Yes.
And this damage which appears to the driver's door is the same damage which you saw at the time of the accident.
Yes.
And this is the same line in the lower portion, being that line where vehicles park.
Yes.
Next is J.
Counsel, can we go off the record for a second?
In this picture, do you recognize this vehicle?
Yes.
We're talking about when you were on the corner of Scott and Alvarado. From your point of view, does it appear to be the same view as in the picture?
Yes.
When you were getting off the sidewalk and you see the truck, you get back on it. You hear the impact, you turn to the right,
Yes.
and this is what you see in this picture.
Yes.
I'm going to object to this, vague and ambiguous, because it's a pretty dark picture. So it's not...
Well, she's already said she recognized it. The next one is K. You recognize this picture as the vehicle which appears
I'm sorry, which?
to be the same vehicle involved in this accident.
Yes.
And this is the same damage to the door which was sustained in the accident.
Yes.
The next one is letter L. You recognize this picture?
Yes.
And it appears to be the same vehicle with the same damage which appeared on the day of the accident.
Yes.
The line which appears to thee
To be what?
on the left side of the picture, running in a down and upward fashion in an angle, is the same line which you described where vehicles park,
Yes.
and it's the same damage to the door which you saw after the accident.
Yes.
If I can just have a second, I might have one or two more questions. Okay? I don't have any more questions.
I just have a couple more.
Sure.
Off the record for a second. Ma'am, I'll just refer to the photograph that we'll attach the Xerox copy of as Exhibit L. Referring to the line, you said that the cars parked next to that line. How close before the boom, before the accident, how close was this car parked to that white line?
Next to, not that far from the sidewalk and not that far from the line.
It was kind of in the middle.
Yes.
How wide is it between the line and the sidewalk?
The distance from the line to the sidewalk?
Yes.
I couldn't say. When I went by, I didn't notice, but I did notice that it was properly parked. It wasn't next to the white line.
And just to make sure I understood what you said before,
Yes.
you only saw Mr. Martin sitting inside the car when you were walking back towards the laundromat from the house of Santo. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
No questions.
We'll go off the record for a second.
You're going to receive the transcript of this deposition in approximately 2 weeks, the first or the second.
Can you have your aunt read the transcript and you can sign it in 1 day's time?
Yes.
Okay. It has to be sent back.
They're going to send you an envelope.
So a person edits it if they're sure or not sure, and they send it back?
You may make changes if you think it's appropriate to do so. If it's fine, the transcript is fine, and you have to make no changes. You just have to sign it. Is that clear?
Yes.
So you want to offer the stipulation?
Yeah, I propose a stipulation off the record. I propose a stipulation that the original transcript will be sent to the witness's residence address at the address she testified to earlier.